Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Morning Update Show. I'm your co-host, Trey Holiday, and it's a beautiful day today, even though it's not looking so beautiful out there. I got to throw it on over to my guy, Big O. You guys know we have a great lineup for you. We've been working really hard to make sure we keep it tight. My guy, Big O. Happy Monday, O.
Treyana Holiday.
Hey.
Happy Monday. I hope that you had a good weekend. I think most people's weekends was amended because of the smoke.
Absolutely.
Shed a lot of stuff. What'd you do this weekend?
You know what? I was with the kids, man. Chilled out, little grocery shopping, home care. It was nice.
That's good stuff. Good stuff. Yeah, I know there was a lot of events around the city. Of course, you know, the smoke canceled. But man, I actually got a chance to get caught up and even freshen up a little bit.
Look at you, yeah, nice.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I got a chance to freshen it up. But we got a lot of stuff going on in today's show. Of course, we're going to talk about the fires, and then Pier 58. There was a collapse there. We talked to Emijah Smith. And talk to her about the Black Education Now demands that are out there. Talk to the team from Recall Durkan. So we'll talk a little bit about that. There's another Recall Sawant. That's out there. Producer extraordinaire Bobby Stills, the postman, caught up with small business owner Joey Nix, and they're doing a campaign about freeze mortgages, food next. And then also a discussion. We've got a new series that's going that we started for the people who've been kind enough to subscribe to Converge Media on Patreon and subscribe to us on Facebook. We got a lot of exclusive interviews and things coming, and so we're going to preview some of that today. But first thing we'll do is we'll jump into the big story all across the West Coast and the Intermountain West is the forest fires. I mean, and they're raging, and the smoke is impacting everybody up and down the West Coast.
1 million acres in the West, ravaged and scorched. So far in a fire season that is not even half over, and taking a tragic toll, the magnitude of which is still unknown.
There are early reports from our state police that there are dozens of missing persons related to the fires.
Oregon's Governor Kate Brown is pointing to the towns called Talent and Phoenix, where searchers are looking for the missing. Smoke from Oregon's 3 major fires is unimaginably widespread. Its worst air quality in the world is choking the Pacific coastline, Seattle's skyline to the north, San Francisco more than 800 miles to the south, and then to Los Angeles. The scenes and sickening air underscore for many that the climate is in crisis. Washington's Governor Jay Inslee.
I think we have to start thinking there are more climate fires, because that's what creates the conditions that makes them so explosive.
This is a climate dam emergency. This is real, and it's happening. This is the perfect storm.
California's Governor Gavin Newsom toured destruction north of Sacramento, where more than 250,000 acres burned in a national forest.
The reality here is the mega fires that we're experiencing come from these mega droughts that we've experienced.
People who did make it out have harrowing stories to tell.
8 of us had to go down to the end of our road, go into the sand and get down in the water to avoid the fire.
Denise Hendrickson left her home in Lake Oroville, California, an area now prone to fires.
I've survived 4 different fires up there until this one, and now I don't even know if my home is standing at this point.
But this man's house is gone again, 2 years after fire claimed his home in a community nearby.
It hurts more this time, I think, than last time, and getting things back together again and having to rebuild is rather devastating.
While there is relief expected with rain in the Northwest tomorrow night, there really is no end in sight.
People tweet the photographs of what San Francisco looked like yesterday and say, oh, 2020, could you get any worse? As if once we're in 2021, these kinds of disasters are going to stop happening.
Climate scientists point to human behavior, namely burning of fossil fuels, including coal and oil, for increased temperatures that decimate forests and make them prone to burn. Oregon officials are now saying they are preparing for a mass fatality incident, saying there is a possibility that they will not have enough resources to handle the dead.
All right, so there's a lot of different I mean, this clip right here was more focused on, of course, what's happening, but then the causes around it being global warming or climate change, I guess is the appropriate term right now. You know, of course, on all over the place. Actually, the Douglas County Sheriff, again, there was a rumor like on the internet that they arrested 6 Antifa members who were setting fires, and they had to make a public statement and say like, yo, this isn't true. So it's like this fire season is crazy. One thing I can say is we want people to, you know, stay out the smoke. And just kind of showing you what it's like out there right here in Seattle. This is Jake Gravbrot. He did a time lapse here, kind of took a ferry on the Washington State Ferry from Seattle over to Bainbridge Island, and you'll see how thick the smoke is over the water. All right, Jake Gravbrot right there, and like it's thick. You know, our office is right there across, just like a block or two from the Washington State Ferry Terminal. And I was looking at them ferries yesterday, and all the smoke out there. I was like, nah, I'm good. It's no way.
Right. I mean, that right there lets you know how thick it really is, and I know that we all experienced it over the weekend because you see this just progression of it getting worse and worse, man, as the days went by.
Yeah, and these fires, they continue to burn. Speaking of the waterfront, yesterday, Pier 58, there was part of it that collapsed. We were just over there the other day, over by the big wheel, and part of it fell in. It was already, so the pier was already closed because there had already been movement on it. Like, people knew. It was like, yo, this thing is all bad, and they were trying to do some modifications there to keep it from collapsing. Part of it collapsed yesterday. We have a little bit of aerial footage right here. And basically what happened, yeah, you go ahead. Basically what happened yesterday is you got a collapse in there. 2 workers fell into the water. They were rescued out of the water. They went to Harborview and then were stabilized there. SDOT is all over it, and basically they have to recover this piece of the pier that fell into the water. They got to pull that out first before they can continue other work on the pier.
Wow, man, so many things happening, literally. Like,
man.
I mean, yeah, I mean, when like what they just said in the clip before that was, you know, what she was saying was, is it going to get better in 2021? I mean, we can attribute 2020 is really like that 2020 vision. We're seeing all of it happen right now in this year, man.
Yeah,
it's
and
crazy.
This just came in, so we didn't work in a graphic for it, but it looks like Black Lives Matter, Seattle King County. This is a real interesting letter that they've sent to the Seattle Ethics and Elections Committee. Black Lives Matter, Seattle King County, and they're charging a lot of city council members. They want an investigation of quite a few city council members, ranging from, they said that Lisa Herbold, says whether Councilmember Herbold misrepresented to individuals she believed to be associated with Black Lives Matter movement or organization, how she had come to identify them individually on or about June 8th. There's an issue with a meeting with Lisa Herbold. They're talking about council members who want given access to City Hall. They want that investigated. I mean, there's quite a few other things. If you remember, a few months ago, Black Lives Matter Seattle King County had sent an email out saying that city council members had released personal information, basically it doxed them, you know, and a few other things. Other things in there they're saying is that certain city council members questioned black employees about what they knew about the protest. And so it's funky. And then the one thing that's in here is that they're saying the city council hasn't been transparent. They're like, man, it's a lack of transparency. Who you been talking to? Oh, at least it sounds familiar. don't have enough time. I just got this before we came on air, but we'll definitely be talking about it tomorrow. But again, Black Lives Matter, Seattle, King County, man, shots fired. For real. Just a letter over to the Seattle Ethics and Elections Commission. Herbold, Sawant, who else is in here? I think Morales. They're even like, yo, who did these people talk to before they wanted to realign budget cuts? Who did they, So it would be interesting to see, because actually we have the list from quite a few city council members. It'd be interesting to see if Black Lives Matter, Seattle, King County was on that list. We need to go revisit it.
Yeah, well, I distinctly remember them being on the list a couple of different times. So we'll see. I mean, again, the records are there, and it sounds like they have some issues. So we'll have to follow this one up.
Yeah, it's getting funky down at City Hall. So yeah, like I said, we'll follow that. This just came in right when we were coming on air, so I haven't read the whole thing, but we'll update it when you want it tomorrow. I'll reach out to big shout out to Kevin Schofield, SCCinsight.com. He was the one who shot it over to me. He's always got his ear to the street. Next up here, one of the things that's really important to us that we continue to talk about is the issue of gun violence in our community, and raising awareness and finding solutions around that. Paul Patu, Paul?
Yeah, Paul Patu.
Paul Patu of Urban Family. They had a Who's Next rally and caravan from the south end to the central district, and it ended down in City Hall. And this is just a few seconds right here of Paul Patu and Urban Family rally, the Who's Next rally in front of City Hall on Friday.
And we're moving together with solidarity and purpose. We know what we want, we know what we need. Quit asking us that you want to study us and run data. We get it. We understand we live in an era of technology. But the reality is we are the experts. We are the experts we've been waiting for. We know the data. We know what the data says. But guess what? We are the data. We are the data. We wake up with it day and night. Stop asking us to study us and just roll with us. Trust us. We're simply asking for our tax dollars to be put back in our community, our tax dollars to be put back in our communities for safety for Black and brown communities. Safety for Black and brown communities. We're not asking for any handouts.
So big shout out to Paul Patu and the Urban Family guys and gals, people, for keeping this issue of gun violence, this epidemic that is occurring in our community, keeping it on the radar and trying to take action to get to the root causes.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, once again, we know it's going to take many voices to keep this issue at the forefront of not just the community's mind, but the elected officials, literally letting them know how the community is literally having to deal with this time and time again. It's always a blowback on the community. And so I'm so happy that there's multiple voices really addressing this issue.
Right. Next up, spoke to Emijah Smith. Yeah, I asked her, I said, Emijah, in the full interview, and this full interview you'll find on our YouTube page, and it'll be up on our Facebook page as well. I asked her quite a few things in the full interview. One, what's the experience that she's having? She has a child in Seattle Public Schools. Thus far, as far as getting back into school. Two, I asked her about Black education now, which we'll see here in this clip. And then the third thing was tips for parents and for school-age kids. So you can catch the full interview with Emijah Smith up on the Converge Media YouTube page and the Converge Media Facebook page. But in this clip right here, I asked Emijah Smith to tell us all about Black education now.
View of those demands are about having more Black teachers and educators in SPS, making sure there's more youth voice involved in the decision-making process in SPS, reallocating resources. The key theme around all of this is about accountability and providing resources and stronger and healthier partnerships with our school systems, making sure that the community can have ownership in those decisions and participate in the participatory budget, as well as having access to land. So like the Horace Mann building, way before Superintendent Juneau was here, the community across race was coming out advocating for space and education space for the Black community and the community in the Central District. So part of that demand is still asking for that. The levy funds that are supposed to be serving all our students in the school, we want to have some shared decision-making power in how those funds will be used. So there's more, making sure there's restorative justice counselors at every school. Right now, because of the social emotional learning, we need more counselors in general. But if we want to separate ourselves from the contract, when I say ourselves, Seattle Public Schools, then we must have someone in the schools who can support our kids around conflict. And having someone that does, to me, real restorative justice is really important. So it's about reallocating that budget in Seattle Public Schools and making it work for community.
All right, Triana, you're a member of King County Equity now. You have school-age children in King County. You're also friends with Emijah. So maybe you can expand a little bit more on the Black Education Now agenda or demands underneath this whole King County Equity Now portfolio.
Well, I think you got a great clip there of Emijah just outlining some of the foundation that it's going to take in order to really reimagine what education looks like for our community and for the next generation and for our kids right now that are in this school system. I think she outlines the desperate need right now to reallocate funds so that there's specific programming that's really coming from community that has culturally responsive care and lens wrapped around it, so that children are feeling the direct impacts from folks that look like them, folks that have maybe made it in certain industries that they can have direct connection with. And I think that this is important. I know just in our Black Health and Wellness call this weekend, very similar to what she was describing, was the need to build community with those relationships. It's super important that we start doing it now that we have COVID, we have to rethink what this looks like. So doing it in intimate sessions that allow for parents to be connected with teachers and administrators in the schools is super important, along with community leaders like Emijah, who are out here really fighting for change in education. I think it's the same across the board when you think about reimagining a lot of this work. Right now, let's think about the simple stuff like relationship building, bringing it back to that and doing it in intimate sessions that allow for that during something like COVID. So it is changing it up a bit, but I think that it's important that people really build those foundations that are necessary to actually have that trust, have open communication, and that's really where the relationship building comes in.
Right, and up today, if it's not up there right now, I'm sure it'll be up there later on today, like I said, the full interview, but also the list of the Black Education Now demands. There's 10 demands that are there. We have all those broken down, and you could catch that at the whereweconverge.com website. If you go there under blog, you should find it there. So I also got a chance to speak with Grace and Leah from Recall Durkan campaign. We promised you guys we would be checking back in with them to see how things were progressing. Didn't think I'd be talking to them this soon because the court, basically everything's in the state Supreme Court right now, and the state Supreme Court hasn't made a ruling yet. But it turns out that it looks like Tim Eyman has I guess you'd say a fake petition out, and it's a recall. It says Recall Durkan on it, but it also has Grace's name from the Recall Durkan campaign. And yeah, it's a mess. Like the petition isn't like real at all. And you know the reasoning behind it is best known to Tim Eyman. His lawyer made a few statements saying that it's, they're right, but anyways, the big concern that the Recall Durkan people had is that it's illegal to sign the same petition twice, and so if some of the public might be confused if someone signs Tim Eyman's petition and then they don't sign the Recall Durkan petition. So long conversation about that. Again, that whole part you can find on our YouTube page right now. The full interview with the team from Recall Durkan campaign, where they talk about the issue with Tim Eyman and they talk about this fake petition. That's talking about next step. So today Mayor Durkan actually sent her brief. So the way that it works, see, I was thinking it was going to be like a court where you can listen in or something, but the way it happens is they're not really going to court as we know it. So you submit briefs. So Mayor Durkan submitted her brief, I think last week or a few weeks ago. Recall Durkan is submitting their brief today. They'll probably send us over a copy of that. And then, the justices read the briefs, and then they make a ruling, which people are expecting in a few weeks. Anyways, this clip right here, though, I asked Leah and Grace, and Grace actually answered this question. Are they worried about any unintended consequences around recalling Mayor Durkan? And it's like, okay, well, here's the plan, recall Mayor Durkan. Have you guys thought about what might go wrong? And this is Grace Harvey's answer to if they're worried about any unintended consequences about recalling Mayor Durkan. Any unintended consequences of recalling the mayor?
I'm not worried. I think there will be intended consequences, absolutely. It's been 89 years since a mayor in Seattle was recalled. And if we do it this time, if we prove that as a mayor you will be held accountable and you will be required to obey the law, then I hope that the next mayor will pay attention to that. That, you're under no risk as mayor as long as you follow the rules. As long as you protect your people, as long as you uphold your duty as mayor, you can't be recalled. And then it just goes to a vote. Right. If people still believe in you as a mayor, it's just a vote.
All right, so recall Durkan. Those guys are lit, man.
Right.
Every time I talk, they said that, and I asked them too. I was like, Mayor. The thing is with Mayor Durkan has support, but it's like it's weird kind of in the city because there's a lot of people in the city who don't like Jenny Durkan, but they like Mayor Durkan. You get what I'm saying? So I mean, she has her support in the city. Clearly, that's out there. And I asked Grace and Leah, are you guys underestimating her support, or are you guys getting a lot of support coming in? And she said, man, that they're getting a lot of people that are really pushing this, and clearly the mayor's taking it serious. She's pushed it all the way up to the state Supreme Court, so we should know here soon on the outcome on that.
Yeah, the thing is that once again, different voices are being elevated right now. Oh, that is for sure. I mean, clearly there is some motivation, whatever Tim Ivan's motivation is, to have some type of, defector or whatever. But ultimately, I mean, there's been a lot of voices that have spoke up. I mean, you can see it even on, we don't want to use social media as a guide, but you can see it right there. I mean, I saw a lot of the clap back on Twitter. It was going back and forth. So again, we'll see how this plays out. Oh, another something for us to keep our fingers on the pulse of, man.
Right, and Mayor Durkan isn't the only one that's facing a possible recall. Your girl, Council Member Kshama Sawant, and right here in D3. Right, this is Councilmember Sawant's home district. There's a recall effort that is gaining momentum against City Council Member Kshama Sawant. A few things here. It looks like they've raised $40,890 from 1,700 people. And here's the thing is about this campaign, right? They're asking people to donate $25 or less, because if you donate $25 or less, you can remain as an anonymous donor.
Oh, wow.
And so, but some of the people who have donated that we see here, and this article is actually from The Stranger. You can read more about it at thestranger.com. So Martin Seelig, if you're from Seattle, a longtime Seattle person, you know Martin Seelig built some of the biggest buildings downtown. They're saying Martin Seelig threw in a few bucks, and his daughter Jordan Seelig, but also Egan Orion, who ran against Councilmember Sawant. And what they're basically saying in this recall is that it's a lot of the. Remember when the mayor wrote that letter to City Council saying that how Sawant had led a march on her house, that she illegally let people into City Hall, that she used her campaign to pay for something or this and that or whatever. So anyways, you know, it's gaining momentum, $25 at a time for the most part. But one of the things that I thought was interesting, people in Renton, Bonnie Lake, and Shoreline have also been donating to this campaign. There have been some talks earlier about a recall Sawant, but you know, I mean, she's weathered a lot of storms, and she weathered. Bezos putting, you know, $1 million into that race, into that D3 race, or well, actually a few different races, but a total of $1 million. But one of the main goals to get Sawant out of office, and she won by about 1,500 votes in D3. That was one of the biggest upsets, you know, even though she was the incumbent, because all of her people were late voters. And so Egan Orion had that early lead in going into that election, and then Sawant stayed quiet for like 3 days, and then came out, and she ends up winning by like 1,500 votes. So it's real interesting. You can read more about this, like I said, at The Stranger, thestranger.com, about what's going on with these recall efforts over here. Next is Pullman over there at Washington State University. This is from the Seattle Times, and it says, you got this one, Daryl? Pullman's party problems. Skyrocketing COVID-19 cases could bring reckoning for Wazoo culture. So basically, it says Pullman, home to Wazoo's main campus, ranked 3rd in the New York Times list of U.S. cities with the most new cases relative to population. Wow. Yeah, and so Whitman County, where it's at, has 975 cases total as of Friday, mostly in the college age bracket. Wow. It says that they set up testing on Greek Road. They set up testing over there at Greek Road, and it says that a lot of students seem to return to campus specifically to party. And it said in the article, it's their mindset. Oh, we're all college students, we're fine. So Wazoo, as we all know, and we could probably spend hours going back and forth with those Wazoo and UW jokes. But Wazoo has definitely been known as one of America's top party schools for a long time, and it looks like that might be coming back to bite them right now. No, a lot of people are asking because, you know, little Omi went back to Chicago, Loyola. What Loyola did though is Loyola closed all the dorms. And so, that's why he got an apartment out there. And I mean, it being 19 now, kind of, you know, getting out of the house kind of thing. But they've closed all the dorms at Loyola, where Omari goes to school. But it's a lot of schools where, I mean, their student population is so large. But you find more and more of these schools where the dorms are open and things like that, where a lot of stuff occurs. I saw on the news that over at University of Miami in Ohio, they had like a COVID. Everybody knew it was like they all got COVID, so they all threw a party. It's a COVID party. So
man, we reported on that early on too with COVID.
That was over in Walla Walla.
Yeah, Walla Walla. I was just about to say that they were already doing. You know, adults were doing COVID parties. So I mean, it's you know, it's one of those things, man.
You have COVID,
right?
Let's party.
Right. Let's get it now and get it over with.
Oh, my friend. So right back here, speaking of colleges, the University of Washington. This is from the South Seattle Emerald, and it says, coalition working to defund University of Washington police says regents and president have fallen short. It's basically protesters there on campus, the University of Washington campus. They're like, man, they want to defund the University of Washington Police Department and basically restructure the police department on the University of Washington campus. It says the president there at the university has agreed to 20% cut in the University of Washington Police Department. It's 150 campus-based organizations, including the Black Student Union, African Students Association, UW, Black Lives Matter chapter, as well as faculty, staff, and students all have come on that. And so someone said, this quote's like, excuse me, the notion that we should be impressed that you're going to allow a physical embodiment of the profound violence of racial capitalism to operate at 80% capacity instead of 100% capacity is laughable and it's insulting, says Paige Secrest, a UW PhD student and member of the coalition. So the clapback from the university says, quite frankly, 20% reduction is higher than the reduction we've been hearing will happen with the Seattle Police Department, so we think it's a good start.
Wow.
So anyways, the defund, you know, this University of Washington Police Department, again, when I was out there in Loyola, you guys saw the clip that I sent in out there, that on the Loyola campus, they were trying to defund the campus police as well. So we'll definitely be keeping an eye on that. A little bit of sports news. I had a clip here with Proof in the play, but we had a technical issue with it. But Proof, which is dope, Proof's gonna get ready. He's gonna be doing like sports updates.
Yeah.
So
good.
We're excited about that. First, right here is the Seahawks. They played Atlanta yesterday in Atlanta. Russ went off, and Russ we trust. You got that clip?
This past week, in fact, a few of them on Friday, including Dalvin Cooks.
How about them running backs all getting paid?
Alvin Kamara got paid as well. This guy's been paid. Russell Wilson. He surpasses 4,000 rushing
bring back the victory, 38-25. Russell Wilson went over 4,000 yards in career rushing, 31 for 35, 322 yards, 4 touchdowns. So the Hawks are off to a good start. Something else happened at that game yesterday. NFL teams have all been taking this movement differently. And so what happens right now at NFL games, at least for week 1, is that they're playing Lift Every Voice and Sing. Now, you guys here should know that the Morning Update show are trendsetters, because we've been playing Lift Every Voice and Sing now for basically almost since this show started. So now everybody's catching up. But they play Lift Every Voice and Sing, and then the Star Spangled Banner. And so different teams have been doing different things. Some teams just stay in the locker room. Some teams, everybody's on the field. Some teams and everybody's standing, and maybe somebody's kneeling or something like that. What happened yesterday, though, was that after the ball was kicked off, the Seahawks kicked the ball off to Atlanta, everybody, all 22 players on the field, took a knee. You can play this clip for us, Daryl.
Kick is away. It's out of the back of the end zone, and we had a feeling that this may be something that took place before the game today. Both teams are taking a knee after the kickoff. A demonstration by both teams, a show of unity between the Seahawks and the Falcons.
I think that the biggest thing is like, I mean, it's crazy because like we talked about on Friday how Kaepernick, EA removed, EA, the video game company, removed Kaepernick from their video game and edited the song that his name was on and everything else, and now they put Kaepernick back in their game, all this, and now, like, the Lift Every Voice and Sing, basically the Black National Anthem, played before every single game. And it just kind of makes you wonder, like, and I don't know how sustainable or even how sincere all this stuff is, man. It's probably just marketing or whatever. But it makes you wonder, like, Cap peacefully took a knee years ago. He just took a knee. Now look what everything that we've been through here now in this country, and now it's like, lift every voice and sing before every game. Guys lock arms in unity. Some people take a knee. I think it was one of the NFL coaches wore Breonna Taylor on the mask and everything else. So it's like, man, was Cap ahead of his time, or was corporate America slow? Was it some of both? I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah, this is really where a lot of folks are at right now, especially in regards to professional athleticism and athletes. Like, literally, there is always this notion that there's people that are out there that have the ability to utilize their voices in the biggest ways, right? They have the biggest platforms. They they can do some of the best outreach and make sure that people understand that they're tired of the way that things are. But I think that what we've been seeing is that there's been this slow progression towards understanding and acceptance of these ideals. And many people are seeing that, look, you know, I'm not happy with the way things are going. Let me try to do a little something. Let me make a different change. Let me, hey, take a knee right now. Let me do something that indicates that. We saw the drastic change of them saying, you know what, we're not going to play. We're not going to play this game, or, you know, we're going to sit out this week or whatever. We saw that happen. And now what we're seeing is like, okay, people kind of got to get back to work. What does that mean? And how do I adjust myself when I'm back at work? You know, this is happening across multiple sectors and multiple industries. I think about folks that are in grocery. I just spoke to UFCW Local 21 and folks that are in grocery that said, look, I'm going to wear a Black Lives Matter button, and, you know, there's an issue with, you know, certain grocery places that are like, look, we can't have that. Well, union workers are fighting back and fighting on behalf of their constituents that are saying, look, I mean, I'm gonna take this into HR because I want to wear this button. I want to support this movement. So we're seeing it happen across all of these sectors with bus drivers, essential workers, you know, folks now that have these major platforms. It's really a zeitgeist. It's a sign of the times where everybody is really joining in and somehow using their voice for some type of change. We're seeing that. It's an amazing thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's just interesting to me. I mean, even NFL Commissioner Goodell, that it took that crime against humanity, the murder of George Floyd, to play out on national TV for Roger Goodell to even have any kind of shift around this issue. I mean, it took something that horrific, but we'll see if this is just Madison Avenue, if this is ad agency smoke and mirrors, or if there's any sincerity in these actions of these big corporations. Because, you know, I mean, for them, it's all about money. They're like, oh, right. You know, we'll get more money, we'll play Black National Anthem, no problem. You know? So we'll see what sustainable changes. Last thing here in this segment is, I'll be honest with you, Trayana, man, the support that we've been getting from the public, really from day one, it's just been tremendous. It's been phenomenal, and we got people who actually subscribe to Converge on the Patreon platform and the Facebook platform, and we really thank all of you for doing that. 'Cause those platforms just allow people. So a lot of people, they donate $5 a month, you know, which is cool. I think you can donate from $5 to $150, but they donate $5 a month, and they're just like, man, you know, keep up the good fight, and you know, and things like that. And of course, there's lots of people who've donated through like PayPal and Venmo and all these other things, because we operate off of donations. Yeah. This is really what keeps us out here. So what we've done is we created a series of videos that we're releasing, and we'll be releasing first to our people that are on our Patreon, and then our Facebook subscribers, and then ultimately to the general public, where it's a lot of behind the scenes discussions with me, Bobby Stills, Eric Calligraphy, Jake, you know, and it's really a thank you, one, to our subscribers, but two, just to the general public, man, because, you know, one of the things that really, man, it really gets to me, and I'm gonna take the time, I promise you, it might be months from now, but I'm gonna find the quiet space. I received hundreds, if not thousands, of messages and emails of people just concerned about my safety or keep up the good work. And man, for like 2 months, I was just too tired to even, you know, I mean, you remember the morning show back during CHOP, I'd literally be asleep right there until a minute or two before we go on air. And there's so many people I just never got to reply to. And you know, I'm old school. I still send postcards and stuff and everything else. And so for me not to reply, to tell people thanks and everything else, has really been eating me up. But it's gonna happen, you know what I'm saying? But in the interim, we put a bunch of different videos together. This is just my thank you part. There's a whole video series that's getting ready to become available. But yeah, just want to say thank you to everybody. You know, some of the messages that you guys send, I read some of these messages, and that's why I really thought it was important to make these videos, because I know a lot of you guys, you don't even have a lot to give, but you give. And I just want you to know that it's meaningful, and we're going to continue to work hard for you, and we're going to continue to stay out here in these streets. So thank you for your support of Converge Media. Yeah, so again, it's a real heartfelt thank you and a sincere thank you to the public. People here in Seattle and Puget Sound, but around the world. It's crazy. We get emails from people in Turkey, people in Australia, people and all across Latin America, people in Holland and in the Czech Republic. But especially, like I said, our people here. For a guy that always has a lot of words, and I don't have enough words to just say how thankful that we are. Your support of what we've been doing, just in the words of encouragement, means a lot.
It really does, and I'll be honest, I got such a swell of love as people began to understand what we were doing out here. And so I echo your sentiments wholeheartedly, where it's just so many people in the community, so many now community aunties, community uncles, right, that just are looking out and extending that love. And so gratitude, so much gratitude for all of you guys. I echo your sentiments 100%.
There it is. We're going to take a short break right now. When we come back, the postman, Bobby Stills, is in the building. He's bringing us a story about a small business owner / campaign designer, but it's all about freezing mortgages and feeding the people. You're watching the Morning Update Show.
Converge Media produces culturally relevant content for Black and urban audiences. Our coverage is raw, transparent, and objective, praised by community leaders, government officials, and residents. Support Converge Media today via Venmo, CashApp, or PayPal at Converge Media. Welcome back to the Morning Update Show. I'm your co-host, Trey Holiday. And right before the break, Big O set it up to bring our guy, producer extraordinaire, Bobby Stills, the postman, onto the set. Welcome back, Bobby.
I know. I don't know. I feel like I've been on here a lot lately. Yeah. So thank you for having me on your set.
Yeah, today. You've been producing some amazing segments, and you have another great one for us today. Tell us about your latest segment.
I caught up with a local business owner here in Seattle. He's a small business owner. He's also a very good friend of mine. I know I talk a lot about what you can do as a person, just you, not a group of we, but how you can make an effect on the community, a positive one. And I wanted to shed some light on some things that he's recently been doing. He's now about to go back into a second campaign, but this campaign is about small business owners and or residents that cannot pay their rent. And it's a conversation starter, and it's something that him and a couple of his friends, took action and started a conversation. So I'll let him speak a little bit more about it, and we'll talk about it after the clip's over.
This is Joey Nix. I'm a mural painter, artist, oil painter, design activist, art sometimes, and I own a pinball bar, arcade. So I'm basically like a curator as well, and a lover of Seattle. Well, as a small business owner in Seattle during COVID and they started announcing more and more regulations on we can't have the arcade open anymore. We have to have people wearing masks and 6 feet social distancing. They had us close down the entire bar for 4 months, and our rent is so ridiculously expensive that we were forced to get a PPP loan. And which was great, but now that's already gone. And I don't know, basically during that time, as a small business owner, I started really kind of freaking out, because this is my livelihood. I spent the last 3 years working on this bar. It's like a community center for artists and people, musicians, and anyone to meet and talk and link and stuff like that. So I was like, posting on all the social media outlets, like my ideas. And I just felt like I was constricted to these apps. When I feel that way, usually that's when I go to the street and I'll take my ideas to the street for like and this is a perfect example. And I made a poster that said suspend rent, and I photographed like a homeless encampment in Ballard, a couple of them, because our city is just like overrun with homelessness right now. It's like a super huge issue that's not being addressed, I don't think, properly, if at all. So I made one that said suspend rent, and then my friend Cheyenne Randall, he's like a prolific artist, he made one that said food soon, which is like a can of food, like don't worry, we're gonna feed you, kind of a idea. So I ended up printing off like over 1,000 of those, and it was right when all the bars were being boarded up. So I was like, there's the perfect canvases, I don't care, it's not like extremely illegal, not that I really care, like I just want to get my message out there. And it seemed like all the canvases were going up, like who wants to stare at bare wood, so I don't think that like one poster is going to change anything other than people's perception and perspective, and just I want them to know that like this is going to hurt small businesses, it's going to hurt venues, it's going to hurt bars, it's going to hurt coffee shops, it's going to hurt restaurants. Like everything we like in all of our culture is being just totally like neglected right now, and there's no help. And so it was just a moment of like anger, passion, and just desperation of like, I have to get this idea, I have to put this out, almost for my own selfish comfort as well. I was like, I just have to feel like I'm doing something. Let everyone know that we should all be helping each other. We should all like get help from the government. Like why is banks controlling everything? Like they're just watching us all like die. And like I thought capitalism was about like, it's based off of like business and like small businesses, so now like, an idea that sparked out of just like desperation, anger, and feeling like limited. It took me half an hour to like photograph and design the poster. Now it's in the Library of Congress. On a positive note, someone over there is paying attention. It doesn't feel like the government is just totally and completely against us. Usually I'm just like posting on Instagram. My Instagram is @joe.nix, N-I-X. I'm hoping that it's making some sort of a difference.
All right, yeah, salute to, everybody involved with that campaign. Shout out Joey Nix.
Wow.
I also wanted to let everybody know that the first person who finds the cameo and screenshots it and puts it up on our Facebook page will get a special treat sent to us from Converge. But yeah, your boy was up in there. I tried to stay connected to that art community. I'm passionate about it, and I really appreciate all the people involved with that. And it's a conversation starter, and it's a big deal right now. What's going on with people not being able to afford food or their rent? Small businesses are very important in all the communities.
Yeah, across the country. We talk about this all the time. Small business is what built America. We talk about that. It's built on small businesses, right? And so this is really a hard time. And honestly, this is something that I'm also passionate about, Bobby, because working at Africatown Community Land Trust, we understand that there's going to be a heavy burden that's put on renters, those homeowners with mortgages, because this moratorium did not freeze their rent. It did not stop them from owing back rent or back mortgage. This is the biggest, I think, bubble that we're going to see when that freeze or that moratorium is lifted. And so many people need education around this, because I think there was a big misnomer around, well, what does a moratorium even mean? Does that mean if I don't got to pay, then that means I don't got to pay? And it's like, nah, that door is going to come knocking as soon as that moratorium is lifted, and it's going to be important for people across this country to be well informed. So I'm so happy to see that this campaign is spreading, because I think that Joey Nix is onto something huge. And honestly, a lot of folks that work in housing justice, in affordable housing spaces, this is a big discussion for us right now. How do we make sure that people stay informed and educated? So thank you for doing that piece, Bobby. It's important now.
Yeah, I appreciate it. And shout out to everybody who helped shoot that, everybody who was out wheat pasting and getting the conversation started and shedding some light on what it's like to be a small business owner. They
Absolutely.
also owe back rent too.
Yeah, see, everybody. It goes up the conundrum. I've been saying it. Freeze everything across the board. So thank you for that. And it sounds like you also put together a little thank you piece yourself, right?
Yeah, I really appreciate everybody that we have out there, everybody that in the community that's been supporting us. Like O said earlier, we're where we're at because of the community, and we really appreciate you guys. I've talked to many people on the streets, and I've got messages from around the world and the country, family members, friends, people that have just seen me or just know who I am. Necessarily, we weren't friends, but they came up and they told me personally about how much they appreciated us. And so everybody that supports us, gives us a like, a share, donates on Patreon, Facebook. We do want to say thank you. We really do appreciate you. We wouldn't be here without you guys, and we just, so yeah, I made a little thank you video for you guys, so enjoy. That follows us, donates to us, supports us. We have a staff here that works really, really, really hard. A lot of volunteers that come through, and we're trying to make some really, really good stuff for you guys. And we're a growing company, and please, even a handshake coming up in public is worth something to me. We get a lot of love from you guys, and I just want to reciprocate that love to you guys and say I appreciate it. It really fills my heart with joy when people come up and recognize me for some of the work that I've done, and it makes me really proud. And I get a lot of my friends and family tell me about how proud they are, and that's the thing about it is we've been working hard at doing this for a long time, and we want to be able to bring other people into our family that are continue to do good stuff. And so, all the help we get from the public, we appreciate, and keep watching. And we hope to make you guys proud, and I'm open to any suggestions for some stuff you guys like to see. I'm here.
Oh, that's sweet, Bobby. You guys got me feeling all nice. I'm gonna have to make sure I do my thank you video because we're also appreciative. We talk about it off camera all the time. We wouldn't be anywhere without people supporting us.
Yeah,
we know
there's
that.
tons of stories of people coming up to us and say some really, really nice things to us, and it does not go unnoticed.
That's right, absolutely. Well, thank you once again, Mr. Bobby Steele. Some great pieces as always, bringing it hot on the set. We appreciate you so much. You guys stay tuned. We have our Melanin Magic coming up in our next segment. Y'all know that's my favorite piece. You're watching the Morning Update Show. We'll be right back. Converge Media produces culturally relevant content for Black and urban audiences. Our coverage is raw, transparent, and objective, praised by community leaders, government officials, and residents. Support Converge Media today via Venmo, CashApp, or PayPal at Converge Media.
All right, welcome back to the Morning Update Show. Man, this is the Bobby Steele. Every time Bobby's on camera, man, he just gets all the hearts and the little huggy emojis and everything.
You gotta love that guy, Bobby Steele, man, a man of the people.
Well, that's the postman. I'm gonna switch up the order a little bit here, Daryl. So we're gonna actually go to number 16 first. And speaking of that, we're speaking in code over here. Let me put it out there. So we've been doing the Building Black Wealth TV, the partnership with Dre's, and in Building Black Wealth TV. And basically what Dre's does is they take over a brand social media page and then they promote Black businesses on there. The very first page that he took over was Layla Ali's, and the second one was the Seahawks. And so he took over the Seahawks, I think it was about two weeks ago. But one of the people that Dre's talked to is a woman named Jasmine Richards from Seattle. She has Luxury Candles is the name of the business. And she opened this business during COVID. And so this clip right here is Jasmine explaining to Dre's one of her candles that burns for 65 hours.
Wow.
Jesus, this is about my house is about to smell awesome.
Yes.
Awesome. All that jazz. So is this? If I like play some Miles Davis, does this do it?
That's the party animal. No, so all that jazz, it's not the smooth one. It's not like Harlem Renaissance, all that jazz. It's more of a reflection of me. And yeah, that one's a little bit more of a reflection of me.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, this drink just opened me up. I was just like, I'm
Ray
like, smelling salts right here, baby. All that jazz.
All right, and so people can see the full episodes. We have the Seahawks special Seahawks edition, which was right there. We have that up on our page, and people can also visit buildingblackwealth.tv. And again, they can find Jasmine and Luxury Candles at BLKSunflower, like Black Sunflower.
Oh man, you gotta love all of these efforts to highlight how people are staying resilient during this time. It is a beautiful thing. I mean, we've been talking about it since day one. Even this show is an example of that. Starting with the Camera Phone Collective and starting with what we have, man. Starting with what you have is a beautiful thing. And I think that COVID right now is spawning a lot of those ideas where people are like, look, I've had this thing in the back of my head. Now is the time for me to launch it. Like, let me just do it. Let me go ahead and do it. So I love that. I love that Dre's is doing this effort to elevate Black business. It's super important right now.
Yep, and we got a lot of clips up there that we'll be putting in throughout the coming days. Awesome. Talk to Black business owners and also talk to a lot of Seahawks. There's a lot of entrepreneurial Seahawks that are out there as well. So want to definitely support the buildingblackwealth.tv movement, and that's Dre's has a whole TV side of it, and then also locally here there's a whole Building Black Wealth movement that's out there. You know, the best thing that can happen in the Black community is that Black businesses, entrepreneurs, business altogether grows independent of any kind of government support or anything else. You know what I'm saying? Absolutely. If we can, because in any community in America, when economic conditions improve, life improves. So we really want to be able to support Black business independent, like, man, put government all the way out of this. You know what I'm saying? How can we spend in our community and encourage other people to spend in our community so we can have a natural and organic growth that's independent of any legislature, lawmaker, or anything like that.
Yeah, you know what? You mentioned a really valid point, and there's a lot of initiatives happening. We'll be able to bring out some more information on this, but People's Economy Lab, New Economy Washington are two initiatives right here that are working on measures just like that, so that we can have our own circulation of dollars, creating our own economic economies that really allow for us to, again, like you said, invest in each other. So I love that. It's something that's definitely growing. It's a movement that's happening now, and Building Black Wealth TV is a part of that for sure.
Yeah, and just to be clear, I'm not against any other culture or people building their own wealth either. I'm just pushing building Black wealth. So I'm not from a hater, but I'm not anti anybody. I'm just like pro. Let's build up this Black economy. I got another clip here. This is from our upcoming segment. And also, like I said, want to encourage people, if you haven't become a subscriber on Patreon or on our Facebook supporter page, this is the kind of content that we'll be having on there. I talked to Eric Calligraphy. It was where me and Eric had a conversation. We kind of interviewed each other. But this clip right here we talked about was during CHOP, the memorial wall and candlelight vigil, and how, irregardless, there was a political side of CHOP, and a lot of people out there looking for political changes and demands, but there were literally thousands of people that came through just to be around that energy around that wall and that candlelight vigil. So a lot of people who were impacted by that, like I said, that crime against humanity, and a lot of people who were suffering from the losses around COVID and just wanted to be in a space with other people who were grieving. Here's a short clip of conversation with me and Eric Calligraphy. What stands out for me is the memorial wall and the candlelight vigil, and that thousands of people throughout the lifespan of Western Barricade, Chaz, and Chop passed by the memorial wall and the candlelight vigil. And it was kind of amazing. We used to end the stream there almost every night. We'd end over there at the candlelight vigil of how many people the murder of George Floyd, that crime against humanity, how many people it impacted. And so many people came out. They didn't come out to be an occupant in CHOP. They didn't come out to protest. They came out to be around other people that felt a similar sense of loss of humanity. And then you found that other people as well went to that wall. Like, you know, right now, COVID, it's still, you can't, funerals and things like that. So a lot of people went to that wall to find a sense of comfort around other people and loss. And their loss might not have been related to, killed by the police. It's just a loss of a family member or a loss of a friend. But they knew by going there to that vigil, they'd find other people that were in a state of grief, but could also offer comfort.
I mean, it's energy. As human beings, we like to sit around the same energy to balance our own, you know? Sometimes we need energy to connect, right? And sometimes we need that same energy to understand that somebody's there grieving with us.
Yeah, I'm excited to release these. You know, it says lots of interviews, and then also, you know, every time like a lot of times when we retell our experience, man, it's like, I mean, it's traumatizing sometimes. And so we kind of looked at each other. It was like, if we're gonna tell our story again, we're gonna tell it on our own network. You know, like we get lots of calls and stuff for interviews, documentaries, stuff like that, and it's like, and for the most part, we turned everything down. You know, I mean, we do some print interviews and things like that. But, you know, guys have a lot to say, and we just, like I said, thought that the best way to be able to show our appreciation for our supporters is to be able to have some honest, in-depth conversations that we can share with them.
Yeah, and I think it's the way to go at the end of the day. I mean, there's a lot of people who have literally followed the journey of Converge, and maybe it was a protest that brought them into the family of Converge, but now they realize that, hey, Converge was doing stuff way before the protest, and it's great to get to know the players that have been on the front lines doing this work. And honestly, it's a part of what I receive out there in community. So this is going to be beautiful. Oh, I'm glad that Converge is building that up and giving the audience something extra to see and get to know a little bit more about us on the inside. It's beautiful.
Yeah, and man, our last clip of the day here, you know, it's Monday, so it's Melanin Magic. Big shout out to producer Nikki Barron for putting this together. And it looks like we have the Black Tones, and they're performing Mama. Look, Nikki put a whole big description here, so I better read this. So, Melanin Magic today, the Black Tones perform Mama. This Seattle band, the Black Tones, with the sound they describe as a mixture of Kurt Cobain and cornbread. Now, that should be interesting. Twin siblings, the Black Tones founders, Eva Walker, I know Eva, and Cedric David, with bass player Ezekiel Lords, performed Mama. There's a Spider in My Room from their debut record, Cobain and Cornbread, on a local art show, The Art Zone, with Nancy Guppy on the Seattle channel. That was a lot. It's a mouthful, Nikki. Here it is. Melanin Magic here on a Monday. It is the Black Tones. Whew. Hey,
that was serious.
It was Jerry. I was looking at the comments. People were like, "Ooh, pretty guitars."
Yeah.
They was getting it in. Kurt Cobain and Cornbread sounds about right, man.
You gotta love it, and I know that. If all goes well, this Friday we're supposed to be doing the 50th memorial of Jimi Hendrix, and listening to them right there, right here in our city of Seattle, this Emerald City. I had to throw it back to Jimmy because we're going to be celebrating this Friday. So we'll be dropping some clips, hopefully, too, of some interviews we're getting of his bandmates and all of that. It'd be great.
Big shout out to Tina Hendrix.
Yeah.
Me and Tina go way back to the doghouse.
I know.
Man.
We were trying to dig up that prom photo, man.
Yeah, I got the prom photo somewhere. Me and Tina. Maybe Throwback Thursday. We'll bring it out.
That'd be a
but
great
man,
one.
she's been working real hard.
Yeah, very hard. And the Hendrix Music Academy, shout out to them. Once again, like you said, really in the spirit of her uncle, keeping his legacy alive. It's beautiful, and I think it's about time that real Seattleites get to understand who Jimmy was.
And I'll say one thing: this is the most I've seen Jimi Hendrix Park used ever.
Yep.
It's the community is out there almost every day. It's about that time, Trey.
Yeah, let's do it.
Oh man, I think I overdid it this weekend. Where you at, Bobby? Oh, there.
You got it.
There it is. All right, so man, what a great show! A fantastic Monday. I think we're off to a great start.
Absolutely.
We're not going to let the gloom get us down, but want to continue to tell people is like, man, let's take care of each other. We were already supposed to take care of each other with COVID going on, but two, we got this smoke out here. Please, let's make sure and reach out to our friends and family who might have a compromised respiratory system, might suffer from asthma, things like that. Man, let's see how we can help a neighbor out. How can we help a friend out? Let's spread a little bit of humanity around.
Absolutely. Give that love to community. It's like a big hug, opening up for folks.
Big hug, that big. All right, everybody. Until tomorrow at 11 a.m. We're out of here.
Peace.
Every voice and sing, dealer than heaven ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun.